Hey there everyone! Welcome back to another exciting video for the Shibarium community and its partners. I'm Cezanne Shib, and my mission is to spread knowledge and positivity within the Shibarium ecosystem. This video is the 13th of all X-Space Weekly DAO Update series. This X-Space was held April 18th, 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another K9 Finance Weekly DAO Update. You have made it back again very early, either to the recording or to the live show by following our links. Either way, very appreciative of your attendance and your time to be here. However, with the X Spaces being what it is, we have to go through the setup phase as we always would. So if you are here live, you're stuck while we do this. If you are here enjoying the recording, you do have the luxury, if you needed to scroll forward probably a couple minutes at least. But if you do that, you're going to be missing some witty banter and possibly some good laughs as we kill about 3 to 5 minutes as we get people into the speaker spot. So that's your gambit to choose. It's your right to do so. In the meantime, we're going to check microphones and get some people up here. We're going to pin some posts and get ready for week 13 DAO update. This week, we're going over things like what you see in the title up top. I'm sure you've seen that. It says vote results, tax changes, and stuff like that. We've had snapshot votes. We get to talk about that. Turtle is here with us. Microphone check.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Oh, another day in paradise. Just building, working, grinding.
Yep. Appreciate you being here, man. Looking forward to the updates on stuff. Buzz will have his Buzz's Corner updates and stuff as soon as X sees fit to allow him to be up in one of these spots. It never ever really works well for him right away from his clandestine remote location, wherever he is at. We'll get him up here. In the meantime, Turtle, if you want to pin anything, now would be the time to do that. You guys know one thing you can do as a listener, if you're not in a speaker spot to help from down there, is comments. Right now in the bottom right corner, there's a comment button. Comments are very helpful. So you could bump that number up for me. Leave a post down there, something K9 related, something that you would maybe have a question about, or just something bullish down there. Get that number up. You can also share the spaces in case there's somebody that needs to hear the update and they're not here. You can share button down there, and you've got emojis to go along with the whole spaces. So if you want to act along, let us know we're still hearing you and stuff like that. Emojis are very helpful. Let's see if Buzz gets up here the second time. I have approved it, and Buzz, it shows that you are here. Is your microphone working?
It is now, yeah. Sorry, last time I got up, I couldn't hear anything, so I had to leave.
Yep, it's been that kind of a week on X, still buggy. I would hesitate to put anyone in a co-host spot because of how buggy that spot's been. So we'll get through it. We will get through it. No big deal here. So before we get started, remember everybody, this is your weekly DAO update with K9 Finance. We're just going through the week's news. We're going to talk about some of the things that have happened in the K9 forums, the snapshot votes and stuff like that. So send out the invites, comments in the bottom right, and we're going to get anybody else that wants speaker spots right now. I've got a couple more spots open, so you're free to come up. We'll do a quick reset and get rolling. Buzz, are you looking forward to the news this week? I know you've got some stuff you've been working on in the back end as well as stuff that you can talk about publicly, right?
Yeah, definitely. Certainly looking forward to some more news that's coming out. Got some really good feedback last week on our latest product video showing the community what's being built. And I know that our team, and as well as yourself, Shane, got a sneak peek into a new product video that was made to come out this week, but we got such great feedback on it and ways that we can improve the communication of what we're building. So hope to get that out by early next week.
Yeah, videos like that are going to be so crucial as we get closer to the release of this thing, because what we're going to have is a wave of like enthusiastic users that still don't know how to use it. And they're going to run face first into a series of these videos, hopefully, that outline it, make it as easy as possible and stuff like that. And this is, again, stuff that you've talked about before, how you're modeling after the success that other brands have had. It's very important to have onboarding videos, tutorial videos, so that they're on the website, they're easy to find, and they're referential materials so that you're not using admin time or people aren't having to search for Telegram chats to ask their questions. Ideally, these videos serve as that whole thing. So yeah, the videos are going to be even, people think they're cool now, wait till they actually need them as a reference point. Then they're going to be very enthusiastic. So it looks like we're good for speakers. If anybody else wants to come up, I see some more faces in the crowd that have been up before. You're welcome to come up. If you're somewhere where you can't speak, that's fine. Remember, you guys, it's a community spaces. You're welcome to come up to after we get through some of this initial update stuff. If you've just got anything that's been on your mind or anything that you saw in the forums that you wanted to talk about, but maybe you didn't want to type it out there, this is the kind of place to do that. So I'll do the quick reset and we'll get into it, if that sounds good.
Sounds good. Let's do it, Shane. Excited.
Welcome back, everybody, to another K9 Finance Weekly DAO Spaces. We are here again, week number 13, 13 weeks, 13 updates about the decentralized autonomous organization that is K9 Finance. Now, this week in particular, if you look at the title of the spaces, we are here to talk about some things that happened on snapshot.org. There's actually been a vote that's gone through, which if you listened to last week's spaces, you would know about that. And we're also going to discuss what those votes passing means for things like the taxes and stuff like that. So hello to everyone listening, whether you're on the recording or you're live. My name is CryptoPulse or Pulse Digital or Shane. I am a DAO member and I am the one that gets to run these voice spaces. My job gets to be the voice of the DAO, voice of the people. I'm here with Buzz, who I'm sure by now you guys all know, who is the mastermind behind a lot of the liquid staking here, and Turtle, who is helping with ops and a lot of the DAO stuff, and he's going to be giving us updates on what's going on in the forums and stuff like that this week. So hang out with us as we go through some updates. We'll see how long the general news up front takes. We'll also have Buzz's Corner, which is always a feature here on the Thursday space. It's just a segment of time where Buzz gets to go over something that's been kind of bouncing around in his mind throughout the week. He goes a lot of places and hears a lot of things, but it's hard to get in sometimes a word edgewise when you're in these places. So we've designed Buzz's Corner to be a little place on Thursday where he can tell us about something maybe he heard, saw, or observed, or something that he just thinks we should know about. So stick around for Buzz's Corner. So without further ado, I will hand it right to Buzz, as I always do when we start the spaces like this, for the same reasons like I just laid out for you. He has a lot of places to be in, places he's been during the week, but he rarely is in his own home place. So how's it going, Buzz? What's the week been like for you, man?
It's been great. Last week had some new marketing team members onboarding, and really seeing that come to fruition now for all the strategies that are being put in place. And it especially helps with that the marketing budget being approved through the DAO, also the ops budget and the development budget. Everything's going very, very smoothly in the land of K9, and really excited to be here and be building.
That's good. And I know we're going to ask Turtle some of these same things, but just as well, I want your opinion on this stuff too. What were your expectations as you watched things go? Since last Thursday we got together, we had talked about the vote would go live right after spaces. We closed down the spaces, and before my bedtime, everything was up and going. But the vote itself has already concluded before now and then. So how did that all shake out in your opinion? Did everything go the way you had it laid out in your head?
Yeah, definitely. The Roundtable meeting was great. There's a couple of members of the Roundtable who I see in the audience who'd be more than welcome to come up here and give their opinion on it as well. But I think all the votes went just like the Roundtable and our team kind of thought how they would go. I think one interesting thing that came out of the voting process is there was one fairly large holder who actually voted no against some of the votes, and a lot of people in our community were confused, like why would such a large holder vote no on these things? But I took a little bit of a different approach, where I'm actually most interested in that person, and I would love if they were to post on the forum maybe why they wouldn't be in support of votes like this, because it gives our community a lot of insight into what people are thinking and gives us a better way to operate.
It's interesting that you would bring that up, because I had on my agenda the opportunity, if it had arisen, to bring that up without being shitty or sounding like FUD, but it definitely stood out as like one of the biggest things for me too. So since you brought it up, I won't be the guilty party for diving in, because it is a juicy question. What would cause someone with that much interest to potentially vote no on something like that? And like you said, if they're listening or if they have access to these spaces, then this would be another call, to say not only I appreciate that you participated, right? But we would love to know a little bit more about why. Just me, for sheer curiosity. I mean, the vote went through with or without it, and that's the way things go. But I would certainly, like Buzz said, love to know the rationale behind it, because it's interesting, and I think we wouldn't have been the only ones that notice. So if anybody knows anything about that large wallet that had a dissenting opinion on that stuff, you don't have to dox anybody. That's never cool. Don't do that. But we're just interested to know more about it. If there's a way to have an intelligent conversation, or sometimes I wonder, Buzz, and we'll ask Turtle too. Sometimes it's just a wording. Like maybe they support a thing and they like the idea of it, but there's a few things that are specifically worded in a way. And if it had been presented differently, like that's why we need clarification from a wallet of that magnitude, because maybe it wasn't the overall idea. It was just something about the specifics, maybe.
Yeah, I know that some holders had expressed, and especially in our whale chat, which there's going to be some more perks to get into the whale chat coming soon, just to kind of tease that. But some people were saying that they actually really liked the sell tax and thought that the sell tax should be kept up much longer because it's going to keep growing the treasury, and they didn't really want a lot of marketing to begin until the product was going live. So I always see those dissenting opinions as very interesting, because it gives our community insight into what our longer term holders and DAO members and community members are really looking for, and where we all want to take this.
Where did you, I already know the answer, I'm asking leading questions. Where did you see those opinions at?
I think it was actually in the Roundtable chat. Now that I think about it, it was a couple members of the Roundtable during the call who brought that up. I don't want to dox them.
No, it's also on the K9 forum as well.
It probably is on the K9 forum. Yeah, Turtle would know.
I saw the same conversation over there, and I found it fascinating too. That there were some people that were saying, "Hey, I don't think we're in a position right now to worry about spending anything. I think right now spending money on marketing, like they were saying, I'm for the operational budget, I'm for the business budget, but I think the marketing budget would not be right now, because we need to save essentially all of the ammunition for when the product was live." And I thought that could have been a very lively debate. There weren't a lot of people that were biting on it, just because I think, one, there's still not a lot of membership in the forums to give that back and forth. So make sure you guys are signed up over there. And two, I just think some people are afraid to be dissenting. So I did appreciate that there was a conversation in a public place too, not just the Roundtable, but in the public forum, where somebody said, not only I don't think it's a good idea, but here's specifically why. I'd rather use that money for ads about the staking platform than ads about buy the token. Or I think that their concern was maybe, and you could address this too, I think maybe their concern was that ads right now might be focused on like buy K9 token, and that they would rather have ads that were about use K9 to stake your assets, and that was their opinion. Do you feel like that was their problem with it?
I think so. I think you're right there. One thing that came out of the Roundtable discussion, and the summary of the Roundtable discussion is actually posted on the forum for everyone to view, so that it is very transparent amongst the community. But things that came out of that were that the Roundtable members wanted to make sure that these budgets were treated as a drawdown, which means that if there's access so for example, the development budget, there's access to up to $50,000 a month for development, but if the expenses cannot go beyond that, but we're trying to not use all of that, right? Treating it as a real drawdown budget to make sure that the budgets are used appropriately. And what also came out of that, Turtle can speak to as well, is the Roundtable really wanted to see, okay, how effectively were these budgets used? Like what goals and KPIs were hit, so that as a DAO, we can continue monitoring those in the future to make sure that spend is going very appropriately.
And I'll let Turtle, do you want to touch on that? Because when you start getting into KPIs and stuff like that, people might want to know more about what that means.
Yeah. First, I just want to say, I think it's great that the forum has the kinds of conversations going on that you were talking about. It really speaks to the DAO, right? I mean, everyone has a voice. And if you're a major holder in the project and you don't agree with exactly how things are being proposed, then, you have the opportunity to really have a voice in that outcome. And, I think through the Roundtable call, the particular concerns ended up being assuaged as far as marketing too soon. But overall, we want everyone to, express their voice and don't hold back. So I was just really happy to see the discourse going on. in that part of the forum and the proposal. As far as the kind of metrics, one of the things, like Buzz mentioned, that came out of the roundtable call is just reporting and clarity from the management council back to the roundtable on kind of quarterly performance, even monthly performance, on how funds are being used and what kind of milestones and dates we're hitting, so on and so forth. So we've made some updates and got some KPI tracking templates in place already. Still a little bit more work to do there, but we plan on being as transparent as we can be with the roundtable, with each proposal and each budget.
Excellent. And like he said, if you guys wanted to catch the roundtable update, it is available. It's over there for you to go through it too. So.
Yeah, every time we have one of those meetings, I'll post a summary on the forum, just kind of indicating major takeaways and voting consensus. So everybody gets kind of a behind the scenes look at how those calls have gone.
So the snapshot votes, then it was a 5-day vote. So those all came to an end, and I don't have the percentages right in front of me, but everything passed. Like, pretend for me, Turtle, that somebody here had not looked at any of that, and just give us the update on, I don't know if you got the percentages right in front of you, but how did it actually all go down?
Yeah, it was interesting. So when the votes initially went live, we had almost like a 60-40 going on the development budget based on that one voter that Buzz mentioned earlier. But as more users came in, that ended up becoming a 75.88% to pass. So just reading the numbers down the board with everything passing, we had 83% approval on the marketing budget, 75% approval on development, 72% on operational. And then on the tax one, there was a multiple choice option there. So you could have picked from 0-3, 1-3, or 1-5. And the 0-3 option ended up with 72% of all the votes. The other interesting metric is just the amount of voting activity that's happening seems to be above industry standards. So we're really impressed with the community's engagement. And we plan on doing things to encourage that engagement over time. And so being active in DAO votes is a good thing. I'll just leave it at that.
Did you learn anything from the engagement here in terms of whether or not you need to adjust the quorum for future votes?
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation about that. We don't know exactly what the next number proposed will be, but it does need to be a little bit higher than it is here. We didn't want to set it too aggressively and then end up, shooting ourselves or shooting the community in the foot per se, with it not passing, but it kind of could have passed. It got enough yeses, but didn't get enough votes. But it's clear with 500 to 600% quorum participation that we should bump it up a little bit. So there'll be an update on Telegram, in the near future about that.
Sure. I hadn't actually heard anyone particularly ask that. I was just curious because I saw it was over like 500%. I thought that was pretty good. But for sure, I don't know if there's a standard number you'd want to see it at, right? But I thought that's probably a little high, What, do you know a number that you try to shoot for?
Yeah, I'd like to see it at, you always want it to be able to reach 100%, but if it could go maximum around, 200 to 250%, I think that would be more ideal. Certain proposals are not going to be as exciting to the community as these were. So we also have to keep that in mind, right? These kind of came with a lot of thought and a lot of excitement around them. So the participation was pretty high. As there'll be more proposals coming into the forum. And there's actually one posted there today, which I encourage everyone to go check out. That'll come from third-party, affiliates or partners or just developers or marketer partners, whatever it is. So we'll be keeping an eye on the performance and taking into consideration, will that get as much excitement as the ones that were initially proposed? But I think it will. So yeah, just to be short about it, we will increase the quorum.
Good plan. I figured you'd already have a plan. I just knew I'd want to ask in case anyone else saw the same thing, thought the same thing. That's why they gave me the microphone, right? What are your thoughts on how things are going with the forum? Because this thing, you built this forum and put it together, and it's not really a thing that there's ever a finished point on, but as it matures and you get more members, you get more activity. So what's the difference now for you for now and a week ago?
The difference now is just that everyone seems to know how to use it. We've had a pretty healthy number of signups. There haven't been any major issues. Thankfully, no spammer issues. Hopefully I don't draw a target on us by saying that. We have some pretty good security in place though, so that should be fine. But I guess really what we're looking to do is seek improvement suggestions from the community. So if anyone has ideas on categories they would add or something they would do differently on the forum, there's a site feedback section. So people are welcome to head there and give us their feedback. For me, it's kind of transitioning into supporting partners. So like I was saying, there's a potential partner called ApeBond who was interested in making a proposal. And I've been working with them to kind of help them along with the proposal process. And I'm doing the same for a few other items that I can't mention yet. So really what it means for me is that home base is up and running and the DAO is fully functional, and that puts us in a position to thrive and grow.
Excellent, man. 1% better every day, right? All the little things we're working on like that. Very good. Buzz, with what you've been working on, I know you just mentioned a minute ago that you've got some new video content for user interface stuff that you can't really share yet, but you are getting very excited about the user interface stuff in general. Things starting to feel very real for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like one thing that came out today was there's probably 3 or 4 people who were invested in the pre-sale, and they were using Coinbase Wallet. And Coinbase Wallet is a little bit tricky. Like, it doesn't integrate with Wallet Connect. It's not as easy to connect to a dApp as it is MetaMask. And the vesting site, like, we always knew, like, okay, there's only a couple hundred people that are going to be using that. And the wallet integrations are a lot more important for us as a development team as we're planning our scope to have in the main product. And we were going through like all the different wallet connections that we're going to be able to make. And funny enough, saw that Shibarium added many more wallets today as well. And we saw a post that Shibarium made of having Rabby Wallet and Coinbase Wallet and all of these other wallets natively integrated into the Shibarium website. And we kind of, as a dev team, got together and was like, we need to make a post of all the wallets that we do, because I think we actually might even have more wallets integrated into our product that we're building than Shibarium now has.
That's pretty impressive. And you absolutely need to have a list of that. You need to have something we can fly from the rooftops, trail behind an airplane with all the wallets that are listed on there. That's good though. Coinbase support, there are a lot of people that's discovery for them, like Coinbase users. That DeFi wallet is like as far off the reservation as they may get in terms of wallets. They may never touch a MetaMask or something. So having interoperability with that or having your logo in Coinbase wallet can be clutch. That's cool. So the updates for the UI and stuff like that, these videos you're working on, what's your thought process when you're making these videos? Because I know you're going to have more and more content to push out as everything gets closer. What's the goal with this content? Like, are you marketing focused? Is the content something you're hoping that sells people on the idea of what's available, what's possible? Or are you making educational content for the community that's going to be using this? What are your thought processes when you're working with the video creators to show them what you've got?
Yeah, the thought process right now is that we were initially getting a lot of feedback from K9 users, like, when's the product coming? When's the product coming? And we wanted to be releasing content every single week that shows milestones of what we're building. And that's not going to be like super polished step-by-step content of how to use it. So we've been kind of brainstorming as a team, like how do we continue showing progress and giving confidence to the community that this is coming in Q3 and it is going to be a very powerful product. So I know, Shane, you probably saw the sneak peek of a video that we can talk about here. And what we tried to do there is like show the code that we're writing in kind of like the bottom screen of the video. And I think we might have failed a little bit there, because I know that your initial reaction to the latest video we were going to put out was like, oh, that looks scary. It looks like a user might have to be using code to use the K9 product. And we're like, oh, that wasn't exactly the outcome that we were going with, where the overarching goal of these videos is to give confidence to the community that this is being built, everything's on track, the roadmap is being followed, and to really gain excitement for Q3 as we're releasing little videos and product clips of things that are getting built.
And what I wonder, you kind of did this earlier because we have such a resource with the community members that we have here. You never know who has the ability to make little videos and stuff. So, excuse me, when you posted that clip, my reaction, being a pure degen, not someone who does a lot of coding, obviously, when I saw that little coding box, just made me panic. Like, man, how much work is this DApp going to take? I didn't know that you were showing off like the look at all the dev work. Look how hard we're working. But I think people will want to see very, very much the ease of use. You know, how easy is this going to move? I really did like how smooth everything looked in the video. It was very readable. I like the hover time. Hover time is important so people can read things. If you've been using an interface for a long time, you already know what the buttons say. But when somebody's seeing something for the first time, you've really got to like linger over buttons for a minute so they can see things. It's just those little things. I wonder if anyone in our community has any experience with like product release video, any kind of a demo videos. I once knew a guy who made, for his job, he made employee training videos. And when he ended up in the crypto community, he immediately was able to make like how to buy videos. And there was the same animation software that he used at work, and he just transitioned to that. I know someone in this community has definitely got a skill set that we could utilize.
Yeah, that's a great point, Shane. We encourage anyone in the community who has a skill set, thinks that could benefit the DAO or the project, to head to k9finance.com/join. You can fill out kind of a proposal form there, and it's not really a proposal, but just kind of a request form for us to look at the idea or what it is you can do. And at this point in time, additional video talent or animators would be fantastic. So, but really anybody, if you write content, if you want to host a podcast, if you want to throw a local event in your area, if you want to get on a Twitter space or run a Telegram community, any of those types of things, just send us a message and we can find a way to work together.
Yep. In particular, when the community starts seeing what the product is going to be doing, they're going to know, you kind of don't know what kind of videos you wish you had until you see one make it. So just think about what videos you've seen or what you've used that you thought, man, that's a good how-to video. And we want people that can help us push out that kind of content, because the more people that make it with different sets of eyes, it'll be very different. Because what happened to Buzz and Turtle earlier was just a perfect example of why sometimes running something past someone else can get you a totally different result, because from their perspective, it was just normal film content. But when it went past me, I was like, whoa, it's totally different. So I'm excited to get the stuff out, but I want to make sure, like you said, the videos are crisp, Buzz, and stuff like that. It's hard to meet that right mix of content push and crisp. We'll get it right. You're going to get it right, though. I liked what I saw. So let's do a transition from here. What time? We're about halfway through. Let's give Buzz plenty of time this week for Buzz's Corner. Last week we were running a little bit late into everything. So for Buzz's Corner this week, as we all settle in, this gives Buzz a chance to get his sip of water and get comfortable, tighten up his sweater vest. We're going to give Buzz his time to sit back and tell us about things he's observed throughout the week, as we are are we under 24 hours from the halvening now? I know it's coming up. I'm not sure if it's UTC, but we're very close, within a day of the Bitcoin halvening. So I'll turn the microphone over to Buzz for the Bitcoin halvening edition of Buzz's Corner.
Yeah, every 4 years when the halvening comes around, I love to spend some time looking back at, hey, what was crypto like 4 years ago? What was it like 8 years ago? And kind of see and really appreciate how far that the industry has come. So we had a voice chat, I think it was 2 nights ago, in our Telegram. I see a lot of familiar faces here who were there. And we were talking about together, like, hey, like, what was the first coin that you bought? And then going down rabbit holes of like, oh, what was that coin actually like when you bought it? And one interesting thing that came out of that discussion was TRON. It was Frank, one of our community members, who had purchased TRON very early. And we got into a cool discussion about when TRON first launched, it was actually a media and entertainment coin, and that they wanted to make this like movie and entertainment ecosystem. And the reason that people were buying it in the ICO was really because Justin Sun, who was the founder, happened to have a mentorship relationship with the founder of Alibaba. And it was funny that because they had such a strong Chinese community at the time, and they had an English community, communication was very fragmented amongst the community. And I remember distinctly being in the TRON community. This is probably early 2017, when they had their first ever video call with the community where finally they were translating information into many different languages. And Justin Sun was going to have the first ever video call with the TRON community. And I remember specifically he was doing it from his cell phone, and he was in a hotel room somewhere in the world. And the community was super, super hyped. The coin was pumping. Everyone was in such anticipation of this video call. And tons of the community were joining, the Chinese community and the English community. And the video was a complete flop. His cell phone wasn't working. He was in this hotel room that had like terrible echo when he was speaking. And immediately, as the community was disappointed that they couldn't hear news and updates from Justin Sun, the coin started tanking. And I think that they were doing this video series once a month to give really good information to the community. And the next one, which happened a month later, happened to be in this super fancy boardroom where I think the discussion amongst the community was actually that they hired plants to sit in seats of this boardroom. Everyone in there was wearing a suit and tie. They were buttoned up. They had notepads on their desk. And Justin was in front of a microphone. There was a translator there. I actually think they even had somebody who was on video doing sign language at the time to give the right information to the community. But I thought that was such a unique story because looking back at what we've seen other coins accomplish, and of course TRON is now probably a top 15 coin today. They've done many pivots since those early white paper days of just being this media platform for blockchain. And they've become this powerhouse in the industry. And we had such an excellent discussion in the voice chat of like how much coins can transform over cycles and how important it is to have such a strong foundation and be communicating with your community right from the start and be building with the community in public, just like TRON was doing back then. And there were some hiccups with TRON. There were some things that they didn't do well. The community got frustrated. But then over time, we look 8 years later and TRON is a complete powerhouse because of the content that they're putting out and the technology that they've been able to build and the community member voices that have really risen above there and the international communities that they've been able to grow and build. And that conversation to me was one of such excitement because it reminds me how early we are with K9 and the great foundation that we've built thus far. And we're still pre-product. And I think everyone's going to be so excited about this product. And when we look back in terms of what we've been accomplishing so quickly with K9, it's going to be interesting next halving to see how nascent this is and really look back on what we're able to accomplish together as a community by the next halving.
That's a very interesting perspective for someone who did not know much about TRON all the way back like that. I had not heard the hotel video story, and I, oddly enough, had no idea that I had given you that segue so perfectly. I didn't know that the corner this week was happening related, but boy, that's called teed up. That's a softball right over the home plate for you. That was awesome. I have something that you sparked in me, and since we're doing fine on time and we don't have a whole lot of listeners and stuff, that means that Buzz and Turtle are up here to free run it with me. You mentioned TRON that had this hotel video flop, and I can almost picture it because you did a good job of describing it for me about the turnaround from the video in the hotel and the reaction from the holders to the next one. Now, since I've never seen either one of these videos, I've written it down and I'm going to see if I can find them later, see what you're talking about, because in my mind, you're describing 100% just a marketing turnaround, right? They thought they could get away with doing some lazy video with a cell phone in a hotel, and what they found was it actually appearances matter, whether it's real or it's bullshit. Having that boardroom with a lapelier microphone and having some people sitting there in nice clothes, and that actually makes a huge difference in people's perception, and perception is reality, and that's why marketing works the way that it does. So it is interesting that they were so harshly slapped in that way. And you're saying it was like an instantaneous turnaround in a way where almost it was like too much whiplash. You said people didn't believe it next time they saw the video as if they'd hired plants. You described them as plants, people that were just hired to sit there and be like, yes, I am taking notes. You know what? So the hell what if they did? It sounds like they learned a real rough lesson to me about how much appearances matter. Like, I'm not saying that you got to put on a suit and tie, and walk up to a podium every time you make a presentation about something. But to a certain extent, yeah, you need to know that a little bit. It matters. Were you a part of it when you saw those videos? Like, were you around for that, Buzz?
Yeah. I've told this story many times about how how I first got into crypto was starting a trade, like a market making operation, doing a lot of arbitrage trading. So part of being in that business is you need to hold many different coins and be exposed to the spot market on those coins. So for example, TRON, like we held TRON and we were trading it across a TRON BTC pair, a TRON ETH pair, a TRON USDT pair. And we had a lot of exposure to TRON at the time. So I was very, very much immersed in that as a holder and attending those videos to get information and to understand what was going on with that community. But back in the 2017 days, there was no Twitter Spaces. There was no super active mod group of moderators. There was really fragmented communities where if you were able to get a tidbit of information about what was being built about these projects, you were ahead of the curve. And when I look at the K9 team, a lot of us have been in the industry for a really long time, since pre-2016. So a lot of what we're putting together and the cadence and active communication and what Turtle's doing with the DAO, it's all built on a lot of collective experience where we've seen a lot of things not work. And what we're shipping right now is, okay, we know that these things haven't worked in the past. These things that we've seen from Lido or Aave and the DAOs that they've set up have been really successful, and using a lot of those collective experiences to build a product, a DAO, and a community interface that we think is really going to succeed for the long term.
And you the way you describe it back in 2017, because I'm a baby compared to some of you guys when it comes to crypto, the way you describe it, I kind of get it, because I've been on forums and I've been online a long time. The communication was hard. You didn't get a lot of information at all. It makes me wonder now, if I said to you that in 2024, then is there such a thing as either getting accustomed to having too much information too fast, or information entitlement, or attention deficit cryptocurrency disorder, where previously you were accustomed to having very little information to make decisions with, and now people have too much information to make poor decisions with. We use the phrase in fitness, we call it paralysis by analysis, where you get stuck with so much information you still don't make the decision. Do you think now it's an overwhelming amount of information compared to back then?
I think it can be, and like our attention spans, with especially if you look at like the NFT cycle and now the meme coin cycle, projects are judged in a matter of hours and days and weeks, and not months and quarters and years, how they used to be back in 2016, 2017 land. Like when projects would put out a white paper back in 2017, it was almost like they were given a 3-year grace period. Like, okay, hopefully you make a product within 3 years. And now projects are judged so quickly with this information overload of how many projects are launched on a day-by-day basis. And I like what you said about the forums and that topic. Like, I don't know if anybody in the audience here was kind of around in the days of the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash debate, but that was another thing of crypto history that I always like to look back on during these happening events, because it's a good time to look in retrospect. So if you wanted to get any information about what was going on with the Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash debate and what was happening there, the best place of information there was a forum. It was Reddit. And there were a few people like Preston, Eric Wall, Nick, who were really big Bitcoiners at the time and really understood the technology, and their voices were heavily weighted in these Reddit forums. And a lot of these have been archived, where you can go back and read them. And they're really interesting conversations and discussions that are highly technical. But at the time, the best place to get information was Reddit, and waiting days for replies. And right now the expectation is minutes, if not seconds.
Yep. They want it in real time. They want it right now, and they want it exactly the way they want it. And I'm not saying that about any one person in particular. That's just how people are in 2024. We just get, everything is 2G in your face, 1080p, People they get used to it. So they want access right to the dev. I want to speak to the dev. I'll give you an example. I'm obsessed with body cam footage. No one doesn't ask for the sergeant. You know what I mean? Everybody wants immediate satisfaction immediately right now. Nope, this question, I need to speak to Buzz. I'm in the Telegram for the first time. This is my first message, and I need to speak directly to the founder. And it's like, that's not going to happen, man. This doesn't work that way. And when you're on a forum, man, I remember being on, this is going to make me sound even older, but I used to do a lot of car forums and stuff like that. And you'd leave messages for somebody and know they wouldn't check it for a week. And that was just the way it worked. That was just speed of life, man. And if you guys don't believe that, you try mailing somebody a letter. Write a damn letter and then see how long it takes. Mail Buzz a letter. Dearest Buzz, I am wondering about updates on the DAO. Could you please mail me a VHS of the latest updates that you have made for my VCR? It would be painful. So it makes me laugh to hear you say that one hotel video had an impact, because I have marketer brain. Everything I think of is like marketing focused. And the idea that like you don't slap a tie on somebody and like clean up the room a little bit and stuff, that's hilarious. I've got it written down right in front of me to look for those videos.
It's so vivid in my head. Like his bed wasn't made in the hotel room. Like his bathroom door was open, and like you could just like see like a towel on the floor. It's very vivid in my head. I actually got a message from your letter thing. Really made me laugh. I got a message from a community member who was like really, really concerned. I think it was Tuesday morning who sent me this message, and the message read, and keep in mind, I had been on like a voice chat pretty much every single night in the Telegram community over the weekend, and I think Monday night as well, and been talking with the community. And I got a message from a community member, and they were like, "Hey Buzz, like I saw that you haven't tweeted for 2.5 days. Like just wondering if your health is okay." And yes, my health is okay if I don't tweet for 2.5 days. I promise that we're working really hard, but 2.5 days does not mean that I've died.
That's hilarious. I remember the first time that happened to Lightspeed, my guy. I really do. You don't have to worry about me because I'm shit posting 24/7 on all my accounts. People wish I'd be dead compared to not posting. But Lightspeed had that happen one time. I remember there was a time somebody sent him a message and he came to me. He's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "They think that your health is tied to their bags, my guy." They're like, "Oh my God, is Buzz okay or am I broke now?" It's weird because in your mind you're like, it's because they love me and they care about me as a person and they're worried about my health. And it's like, there's some of that. It's some of that. It's also some other concern. It's like a weird way to poke you. It's almost passive aggressive, isn't it? Did you feel like it was passive aggressive or purely friendly?
I think it was coming from a good place, but it was a little bit alarming, where it was just kind of, hey, jarring. Yeah, I had a Saturday or a Sunday dinner with my family, and that's why I didn't tweet. We're people too.
Hey, you've been in groups before where the Telegram chat's quiet for 4 minutes and somebody comes in like, "Dev died." That's literally what they did to you. They dev died you. Dev died. Project's over. Dev died. Hasn't tweeted in 2 days. That's great. No, you should have shared that with everybody. That's hilarious. I'm going to have to run with that. Next time I haven't heard from you in 7 hours, I'm going to start sending you funeral gifts. That's going to be great. You're not going to be able to sleep overnight without waking up with like concerned flowers from people in this Telegram. Look, I'm going to scroll real quick and see who's in here. I want to see some names. Do you guys want to, if you wanted to be absolute trolls, you could comment on this post with like hashtag get well Buzz. And everybody be like, "What's happening to Buzz? What happened to the X spaces?" It's like, nothing. We're just wishing him good health. But apparently he needs to be maintained and in good health. That's hilarious, man. Hey, Turtle, how are you doing?
I am great, man. Just staying busy, as you've seen. But
hey, are you healthy? Are you healthy, Turtle?
Yeah, very healthy. Everything's good.
Okay.
I get some similar check-ins, but none that are as humorous as the one Buzz got. But
that's great.
I did think that came from a good place. You know, everybody just wants to make sure Buzz is okay.
Sure. Everybody asks when DAO, but nobody asks how DAO. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
How are you doing? Never think that we're not willing to check in with the rest of you guys. I hadn't considered that we needed to give like health updates and stuff, but blood pressure's under control, despite the fact that it sounds like I'm yelling. Everything's cool. We're all cool here. With about 15 minutes to go, I want to turn this over to the two of you for anything that we've missed for the week, or what we really need is calls to action for going into next week. Because I know there's, like you said, there's some new stuff in the forum, Turtle, that you might want to highlight for everybody.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention again that ApeBond this morning put a new proposal in the forum. It's related to liquidity. I think it's an interesting proposal. I really would like feedback from the community on it. We'll all post our feedback there as well, Buzz and the rest of the team. But it's important that everybody gets involved. And I also wanted to tease that I believe the ApeBond team will join us next week for next week's space to speak to this proposal. So if you have questions and you want to get them in there, do it now, or at least over the weekend, so that the ApeBond team has a chance to see all the questions and prepare.
Sure, we can be ready for that too. That'd be a good example of what this spaces can be is someone's got a proposal that's working its way through. We can use this as an open forum to make sure that we get a chance to hear it in not just a written format, being aware that some people might want to hear the audio. Also, you can just learn a lot from hearing people speak. It's one thing to read. It's another thing to hear, particularly in an AI world. Anybody can GPT something, but it's going to be harder to come up and defend it. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to mention is that with the budget proposals passing on Snapshot, we've been taking action with those budgets, and Buzz may want to add a little more color to it, but there's some international marketing efforts that have already begun. There's an agency that has been selected for a campaign. Development is on track and going well, and all the operational stuff, like Buzz mentioned, some additional team members have joined. So I think there could be a few highlights there that Buzz could get into deeper, but we're moving. The budget's just got approved within days, and we're taking action quickly. So I think everyone should know that.
And Buzz, if you want to touch on that, go ahead.
Yeah, the Vietnamese community is a very exciting one. So I did an AMA this morning at around 8 a.m. my time. And that the Vietnamese community, I think, is over 1,300 members, and it has quickly become our largest international community. And there's a campaign that they're working on there with some great Vietnamese influencers, YouTube channels, and things like that. And the group that we're working with there, their goal is really to bring that community to over 5,000 people within, I believe, 3 months. And Mr. Lightspeed could speak to this as well, but a lot of the exchanges, two in particular that he's negotiating with that would be really, really exciting for our community, have expressed that they would give us very favorable conditions for listing. And again, remember that we never want to be paying in tokens, to give to give exchanges the ability to suppress the price or control the price or anything like that. And they've expressed like, hey, if you build these specific international communities, we'll give you really favorable conditions for listing. And there's a host of other things that they're looking for, but one of them was that. And one of these exchanges expressed, hey, our KPI for us is we want to see coins with Vietnamese users. So we were able to use that marketing budget approval to find a group that would be able to push through a large Vietnamese community influx.
And the benefit of this would be, in my experience, negotiating with exchanges, like you said, you've got a choice to spend money two different ways. You can spend it just on the exchange with the listing fee, doing whatever you've got to do, giving them tokens to get on the exchange. Or you can figure out what it is that they really want and work towards that. In this case, the example you're giving is they want more specifically Vietnamese users, holders, buyers, and traders for whatever reason. It's not even relevant for you to know why they want people from Vietnam. Maybe that's where they're based at, or their licensure is there, or maybe they're currently running campaigns to bring up their users there. But what you can do is go to that exchange. This is what Lightspeed does. I'm not going to speak for him, but I've been there. What can I do for you? It's the most powerful phrase you can use in business development when you're working with other brands and stuff like that. Don't go into a meeting thinking about what they can do to give you what you need or how you can get something out of them. But when you sit down from an exchange as a token like Canine, when they've had 10 meetings all day from tokens, saying, here's what you can do for us, here's what you can do for us. And you sit down as a token and go, hey, how can we help you? They're going to be like, well, shit. We need more users in Vietnam. And you're like, cool, well, we're going to spend the time, money, and effort to build an entire Vietnamese community. And then they're all going to sign up for your platform. And that's what we're going to do. And they're like, cool, then we're going to waive the fee for whatever it takes. Like that's a better use of time, energy, and money. And I believe if Lightspeed were here, I think I'd get the stamp of approval on that. I've been around long enough. But Buzz, isn't that essentially the decision that's being made? It's much better to have 5,000 new enthusiastic people as part of your community than just shell out the cash.
Yeah, what Lightspeed's really been bringing to the table is any coin out there can pay money from their treasury to get on an exchange, and the price changes in terms of what they can request from anywhere from like several $1 million to free. So there's a huge gap between what it can cost and what they're looking for, and really what he's been able to bring to the table is showing, hey, here's how we can strongly position to get organic listings and listings that are going to be great for the long-term health of the project, and that's really what we're working towards.
And for anybody that does speak Vietnamese, if you didn't know, you need numbers help us out in there for sure. So that's exciting stuff. I'm glad you guys are working on that, because expanding internationally is a huge part of what those exchanges look for, wherever they're based out of, right? With about 5 minutes to go, it looks like we're about ready to land this plane on time. I didn't have anybody else raise their hand, but Buzz, there's an overwhelming amount of support now in the comments for your health and wellness. Hashtag GetWellBuzz is now trending on my page as far as I can see down there. So look forward to your recovery, maybe a little chicken soup NFT or something for you. I see Roy and a couple other people that do that. There's a little bit of me that just loves stuff like that. I appreciate you guys. Buzz, I thank you for letting me play with that. That's funny. Before we go, Turtle, what are you going to be doing between now and next week? What do you need from everybody? You mentioned that the forum needs some attention. There's a new thing to read there, but what else can we do before we go?
Like I mentioned earlier, if you think you can help with marketing or you want to contribute in some way and become a volunteer or so on and so forth, please go to the k9finance.com join page. Other than that, I'm kind of working behind the scenes with development as well as a few other proposals that are inbound, and I'm going to be getting those ready to go in the forum as well. So keep an eye on the forum, because there will be new proposals coming in. And I guess the other thing I could tease is the grant program is a work in progress. I don't have an exact date for when we're going to take that live in the forum, but coming soon.
Coming soon. We definitely talked about the grant program, so that's not the first time we've heard about it, but be awesome when it hits the forum. Thank you for your updates. Thank you for your hard work, Turtle. We appreciate you. Buzz, what's up, man? Between now and next week, we had a busy 7 days now. What do you think between now and then? What should we expect?
Well, I think we can expect, I'm going to leak some things that Turtle probably wouldn't want to, because I think people who are coming here like to hear leaks. Like one proposal that'll be going to the DAO is a treasury management proposal that Shima has put together. So we worked pretty hard this week with Shima, who is probably the sharpest person that I know in all of DeFi. He runs validators on, I think, 9 different chains, and he has a DeFi score on his wallet that's in like the top 1% of DeFi users. He's put together 2 different proposals. One, I would say, is like a risky strategy to earn the maximum amount on our current treasury, and the other one that he's probably going to put forward to a DAO proposal is more of a passive strategy, where we would use Lido and a couple other money markets on our stable coins that are all in the DAO treasury wallet to earn some more yield for the treasury and grow the treasury as a community by drinking our own Kool-Aid, so to speak, and using products like Lido to help make smart investment decisions on behalf of the DAO. So that proposal will be in there. There's also 2 really cool development proposals that are coming in from third-party development groups and related to products that I think would really, really enhance Shibarium. I don't want to steal the thunder of exactly what those products will be, but keep an eye on the forum for that. One thing that we didn't talk about on this call, and would certainly be my takeaway, is if you look in the Jumbotron up here, there's a research report that was done by a very large K9 holder, the Alpha Sigma Fund. So the Alpha Sigma Fund, they are early investors in Ripple, Solana, Coinbase, Polkadot, Augur, Gnosis, Decentraland, so like some huge projects in the space. and they've put together a research report that does a really great overview on what liquid staking is, kind of what the state of the market is with liquid staking, what the K9 business model is, and they did a very in-depth valuation of what all of these other liquid staking coins are worth in terms of Lido, Marinade, Jito, Rocket Pool, all competitors to K9 and other chains, and looked at what their base layer chain's TVL is and the market opportunity of what K9 has, and came up with an approximate valuation of what they think K9 can be worth. And I think that this is something that our community probably hasn't read yet, because I think if they did read it, there would be a lot more excitement in our Telegram community. And I don't want to give away what those metrics are, because I really encourage people to read that report. Sit down and take a read. It's incredibly educational and also very bullish for K9. And I'd love to see some more content generated from that post to share wide and far about how bullish such a large VC and fund is, who's invested in projects like Coinbase and Augur and Gnosis and these blue chip projects in Web3 and the incredible research report that they've given on K9.
And that's up top for anybody that wants to check it out, up there in the pinned post. So don't miss that. You can open that in another window so that when the space closes, you don't lose it. We will definitely want to see more content from that. My first thought when you said that was I probably need to get Alan to make another one out of crayon. We need to get an easier version right away. And what can I do to make this into a one-pager is the first thing my brain does. Make it teal deer, if you will. We'll get everybody to tear through it. So from Turtle and from Buzz, those were going to be your calls to action this week. Basically, we're going to meet you in the forums because there's a lot of stuff going on there. But stay tuned for more updates. I'd say to Turtle and to Buzz both, we appreciate you guys carving out the time to be here to do the updates with us. We know that the community loves hearing from you guys. Next week, we can hopefully expect to hear from a couple more people. Like you said, we might hear from some people who are making proposals that are matriculating their way through. That'd be exciting to get to hear a little bit of their ideas and thought processes. I'd like to hear between now and next week, maybe we make some progress on figuring out who the mysterious whale was that was voting against those proposals. I think that's a juicy piece of news that everyone in here should try to keep top of mind. Again, we're not trying to dox anybody. Don't take it as an attempt to try and figure out, or shame them publicly for that, but it's just a feedback type of scenario. Be very interested to know why that was, so I'm still thinking about that. We heard Buzz's Corner talking about how things have changed at TRON. I've got a note here that says I got to go look up that hotel video. Definitely going to check that out. So my thoughts would be the same thing. It's got to be on the forums this week because the snapshots are done. You guys need to go over there, get all your badges, sign up at forums.k9finance.com, and you'll find Turtle and Buzz and the guys over there all commenting on the newest proposals, which you're going to need to read up on, because then those will be the snapshots that we talk about at the next K9 Finance weekly DAO update. Next Thursday is going to be number 14. Between now and then, I will do everything I can to keep K9 Finance top of mind for everybody, speaking as CryptoPulse, not as K9 Finance. When I'm out there doing spaces and stuff, I also try to represent K9 Finance to the best of my ability, and I drag Buzz and the boys around X all over with me. So I appreciate you guys following me into spaces wherever I go, and you guys are all welcome to do that too by following the K9 Finance account, the one you're here with right now, following Buzz, following Turtle, and then my primary account, which is not right here right now, is at CryptoPulse9. I do spaces all the time. You're welcome to come, and I'd love to see you in the audience at the next K9 Finance weekly DAO update. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great day.